I think when you have a great virtual assistant, it's more than just checking tasks off a list because you actually can trust them to do things in your like underneath your authority, right? And so you have the ability to take some of that decision load off of your brain. Something that I know I've experienced before we kind of grew our staff a little bit was constantly having to be the one to make decisions and solve problems when there were problems that need to be solved by me for sure, but I didn't need to solve the problem of what plane flight do we need to take to get to this conference, or what do we need to do to use which card for what payment, right? And so having a good VA to take some of that decision load off you and then just back brief you on the results is just like the best thing ever. Yeah. Building trust while full remote is difficult to do, right? And so one of the things that we do is we turn our cameras on. So during weekly meetings, like you're not just staring into the void. I think it's really easy, as much as we act like you wouldn't ever think this or do this, but if you're only looking at a blank screen all day long, it's easy to turn that around and not remember the humanity of the people that you're working with. And so turn your cameras on, make eye contact, actually care about what people did over the weekend, and ask questions that are like more deep than just what did you do? Like when they tell you, like ask more questions, like and actually care about the answers, right? And so loyalty and trust, I think it gets built over time. I don't think that businesses are families, but I do think that you should really, really care about people in your business, and you should be making sacrifices so that they can win as well. And my leadership philosophy is I think you actually legitimately have to care about people. I think if you're running a small business and you don't actually care about people, you may make some money, but I think you're just going to end up completely broken on the inside. And we're definitely not perfect at LTG. I think there's a ton of things that we could really improve on, a lot of ways that we could serve our employees better as well as serve our clients better. But what I can promise you is that we actually do care. And so I think that bleeds over into kind of what our people on the inside feel about how they're treated. And I also think that that bleeds over into the way we kind of conduct our interviews and conduct the process of trying to find the best fit for folks. Man, how do you coach your team to support clients that don't know what they need? I think the key there is supporting them to be empowered to ask questions and clarify things. Um, and also empower them to make real decisions. I think when the default answer for folks is, I'm just going to ask my boss, they don't exercise the muscle of really thinking through all the way to the end of what the consequences of an action would be. And the consequence could be good, consequence could be bad. But when you actually are empowered to make the decision and own it, you're able to ask more thoughtful questions to clients and really tease out that what are they really looking for? What do they really need? And sometimes like when we're on these calls with clients, they may be saying something else, but they may not, they may be saying something, but their body language might be saying something different. And so really asking clarifying questions and restating what folks have said back to you is a way that we try to tease out what the clients really need. So when we're hiring internally at LTG, as well as when we're hiring for clients, the number one thing that I really do look for is this person smart, and are they actually curious about like how can they do whatever the job is that we're hiring for, like really, really well. Like I like to see people that are competitive. You can tell on the interview when you're talking to folks whether or not they're kind of just trying to punch a clock or if they're really interested in making an impact, and they like to win just for the sake of winning. Above and beyond that, like money motivation is fine, like everyone needs to make a living, but I think the people that really set themselves apart are the folks that like to win and really want to win, are really one thing I've changed in the last year, how I lead. I would say one thing that we've changed is been willing to let go of some more things, and accept more risk in what we're delegating, with the understanding that the reward on the other side of that is the person who you are delegating that task to. They may stub their toes, they may not do it exactly the way you wanted them to, but they're going to improve, and they're going to improve more, because they're able to take on these more complex tasks and stuff like that. And so I would say willingness to kind of take on more operational risk by delegating to teammates more complex tasks, more high value tasks, as we've kind of built more trust and really started crafting finer vision for what we're doing. Yeah, that's a great question. So when we're hiring for a client, one of the first things that I really want to figure out is what is the activity that they're needing to offload away from themselves that's going to allow them to actually drive revenue in their business. And so it's kind of counterintuitive. Sometimes people think that, oh, I just need to hire a salesperson to do all these sales calls and they'll bring in the money and I'll keep doing other stuff inside the business. When oftentimes it's like actually the founder probably should be the person still on those sales calls, but you should hire an administrative staff to where all of your time is spent only talking to clients and only doing those things that you can't replace. And so when people ask me like what should they hire for, oftentimes I want them to understand like where are you actually making revenue in your business, and find the things that are causing you to spend less time doing revenue generating activity, and from there hire away those things that allow you to maximize revenue. When it comes to matching a VA with a client, we do a discovery call. So we do a typically 20 to 30-minute call where we get to know each other, me and the client. And then from there, I have them describe what they really feel like their job is that they need to hire. Like what does that position look like, or what do they want to hire for? And then I'll usually articulate that description back to them to make sure I, one, understood it, but two, we do some AI on the back end and machine learning techniques that allow us to take that input from the client, take a look at different job descriptions that we've used in the past that have been really successful, and find those nuances inside those job descriptions that allow us to find really the best candidates. And so really it comes down to finding exactly what it is that they're looking to hire for, making that custom job description for them that we know has been successful with past clients, and taking the best pieces of everything and putting it together for a unique package. Something I wish that business owners knew about hiring a VA, especially if they're just thinking about hiring a VA, the algorithms have gotten so good on social media that if you click on one of those ads, you're going to get bombarded with different advertising for all these different VA agencies. And I think a lot of them are kind of doing a disservice in that they're selling the vacation of you can hire these virtual assistants and then they're just going to run your business for you. when in reality, like you still need to lead people. And so one thing I wish that business owners knew before hiring a VA is that in reality, when you hire somebody and you bring somebody into your business, that you're responsible for payroll, you're responsible for feeding their family at that point. It ups their game, right? And I don't think that's a bad thing, but I do think that I wish people knew, because I think it causes a bad experience for both the entrepreneur and the person that you're hiring. When you go into that with expectations that magically hiring a VA is going to solve all your problems, it's going to sure help. And there's going to be a lot of things that you're going to realize about your business, about yourself, when you actually hire somebody and you start leading somebody besides yourself in a business, if it's your first hire. And so I would say I wish that some entrepreneurs understood the weight that they're stepping into. Red flags that I see are absentee owners. So people that think that other people can read their minds. Some of our most successful clients are the ones that actually engage with their employees, engage with their business in a meaningful way. And I think that, and you are so like, I think meetings have gotten a bad rap. I think meetings actually can be really helpful if you're running them effectively. And the way we avoid that inside of our own business is we have a really strong weekly meeting where everyone gets on the same page. And then we have a strong 10-minute daily meeting where everybody gets on the same page. And we also record everything, right? And so there's multiple different ways that we engage with each other through our work to where we stay on the same page with folks. And that's something that I think by doing the right things when it comes to meeting and it comes to truly delegating the work and putting some processes in place and rhythms, you're able to kind of avoid some of those pitfalls of red flags inside businesses.